in Beijing, Indonesian Embassy in Beijing. Mr. Kusnadi, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Minal Aidin wal Faizin. Now, can you tell us what's the current COVID-19 situation in Beijing right now, and are there any restrictions still in place?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, we are still able to celebrate Eid, but we do have to respect local regulations on limiting gatherings of large people. So there are still restrictions regarding Eid dining in restaurants, enclosed quarters. We've also been advised to do daily testings now rather than 2 days each. So we unfortunately we cannot hold gatherings with the Indonesian community, only in internal embassy gatherings, just for the sake of praying Eid.
So, Mr. Kusnadi, from what we saw in the videos in various medias, we saw like the lockdown situation there in Beijing is very scary because it feels like it's gone back to square one where we had the first situation of quarantine here in Jakarta. And is that really how it feels there in Beijing, let alone we are now celebrating Eid al-Fitr?
Not at all. When you say the word lockdown, it doesn't mean the whole city is in lockdown.
I see.
It means that there is a high alert. There's a high alert and massive tracing, social tracing of positive people interacting with others. And this, I guess, is the high caution that is now currently being done by health authorities here. Of course, when they said that restaurants are not available to eat dine in, but people can still go out and enjoy the spring weather in an open air. But still, they encourage us not to gather closely in close quarters.
I see.
Mr. Kusnadi, how many Indonesian nationals are currently
Yeah.
living in Beijing right now, and how are they celebrating Eid this year? Because I remember when Indonesians are abroad, they usually go to the consulate or to the embassy for
That's
some
right.
Indonesian food.
Like
eat
everywhere in
prayer.
the world at the moment.
Well, currently there's less Indonesians in Beijing because the bulk of the Indonesians are with Indonesian students. But since the outbreak of COVID, these Indonesian students have returned back to Indonesia, and that we are still in the process of having them return back. Numbers is not that much. We see almost as between 300 people in Beijing. We've organized a daily prayers during the whole of Ramadan, and we don't see those numbers reaching to the 300, only about 100. So with the embassy people and staff, we can only accommodate them because the limit to accept people coming to the embassy is 100. And this is strictly enforced. We have to have less than 100 arriving at the embassy. Although that is why it's unfortunate that we cannot organize a silaturahmi of Idul Fitri at the embassy with the Indonesian community.
Now, Mr. Kusnadi, I've never celebrated Eid in Beijing before, so we are curious, are there obvious differences between Eid celebration in Beijing and in Indonesia?
Well, China also has a traditional of Islamic culture, yeah. Especially in Beijing, there's a strong Islamic community, local community within the areas of New G Mosque. The New G Mosque is in like southwestern part of Beijing, still central, but the southwest part. This New G Mosque was built in 966 the year of 966. So it is very old. And our community, you have an Islamic community with a thriving food and Islamic culture mixed back together with Chinese culture. The majority, of course, there is with the people from Xinjiang. So the food is mostly sweets of the Central Asia, mixed with lamb and barbecue lamb, and I think similar to satay, but bigger meat of lamb.
Now, this is interesting that you just mentioned about food because we've been talking about food since yesterday. And we know that you were mentioning about Nutia Mosque because this mosque was built in around 900 something, if I'm not mistaken. And also, like what you said before, the community, the Muslim community in Beijing is quite strong. And in the sense of food, from let's say you were mentioning about lamb and you know with spices and all, but is there any other traditional Chinese dishes that has been the favorite of Muslims in Beijing or in China as a general?
Well, when you look into China, it's such a big country. It's comparable to that of Europe.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
of course, there's different culture of the north in Beijing, which is dominantly with wills and with things that are made from gandum. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
also in the south, similar to Indonesia, you have the Sichuan province, which is very spicy. You have
Yes,
the
I
hot pot,
love
and then
that.
you have
I love everything in Sichuan.
So for specifically in Beijing, it's mostly dominated with that of the Xinjiang culture because the Muslim populations are from them. But of course, it's you also see a mixed bag of bak pao also, yeah, halal bak pao,
Yeah, yeah.
the bread, also a mixed bag together. But there's also a halal hot pot
Oh.
where the hot pot with is very spicy with the mala bumbu.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's also unique. But also with the sweets that are usually similar to that of Turkey, you have a mixed bag, but it's I think uniquely from Uyghur or from Xinjiang.
Ooh, my mouth is watering right now.
Actually, I just had hot pot for lunch. We can relate. I love those mala peppers. But we've talked about all these Chinese dishes. But did you get to have the Indonesian eat staples like opor, sambal goreng ati, rendang? Have we had those today?
Well, the whole point is for us to pray and do our Muslim obligations first. That's the first part. But knowing Indonesians, although that we try to be low key and we have to be sensitive to our environment,
Yeah,
and also that we feel very bad in not inviting the community. But the Indonesian internal embassy staff, of course, they're very resourceful. So the wives of the embassy staff, they try to provide us with traditional Idul Fitri food of ketupat,
Yeah,
but made
yeah.
with, of course, made with plastics, of course,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's still ketupat. And then we have the chicken opor,
Yeah.
we have the rendang, and then we also have the pindang eggs.
Yeah, yeah.
But we also mix that someone, I guess, because it's more like bring your own, a potluck kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Okay.
I guess someone donated kambing guling from Xinjiang. So it is a mix of Chinese and Indonesian comfort food.
Right.
And then there's also someone also donated Peking duck, which is a specialty here. And
Yes.
in the morning we also had Peking duck.
All right, well, now we have to ask, which one is your favorite dish? Which one is your favorite eat dish that you
Well, of
just have
course,
to have?
Well, the traditional Indonesian opor ayam with rendang and with pindang eggs and with lontong. I think that's comfort food after our prayer,
Yeah, yeah.
the small gathering.
Yeah.
We also had a video conference with Ambassador Johari, so that made the day. And although that it's simple, but it fulfilled our nostalgic moments of
Yes.
Lebaran, similar to that of Indonesia.
Of course, that's very heartwarming to hear. And sir, for those who are now watching us conversing, do you have any messages to convey from Beijing? Because in the middle of lockdown, it's going to be a different game over there. Do you have anything to say?
Well, as I say, that China is very unique. You have to be here to actually realize how modern and great China is. We are very confident that whatever that the Chinese authorities are doing is for our own benefit. So we are fulfilling what the local regulations are. We respect that, and that we feel very safe here. So it's not as grim, but we still can daily lives here without any difficulties.
All right, Mr. Dino R.Kusnadi from Beijing, thank you so much. Please send our warm regards to your family and also the Indonesian people there in Beijing. Thank you so much, sir. Happy Eid.
Thank you so much. Mohon maaf lahir batin sekali lagi.
Mohon maaf lahir batin, kai chai che kwai le. We're going for our first.